Good day, I say. I say good day. I am here, present, accounted for. I should be attending jury duty. Yet I sat here and I said, enough's enough. I'm not doing it. You can't make me. It's not against the law. Well, no, you have to do it, and they can make you, and it is breaking the law if you don't attend. But, like, they catch 1 out of 10, so I'm being sneaky. No, I'm not. Come on. So, yeah. PC load letter, whatever it is, user error on my part. I called the number's a bit cryptic, as you would guess. It's a automated voice recording system, which allows you to perform actions, go through an automated requesting sequence for a number of different options of VRU, right? Where you can state that you're not going to attend, or there's so many freaking options on this thing. It seems very dated. Surprise. Florida state government systems. And I overlooked. So Tracy asked me again last night. I dialed in, and I thought I had to attend. And one of them is to check, I don't know what it is. It's called jury check-in or something like that. Some cryptic response. So when I hit that, it immediately asked me for my juror number, my juror ID number. Enter your juror ID number. And it's like the computer from Star Trek. Computer, how can I help you? Hey, yeah, what? Plot a course. The Daedalus system, traveling 6.4 times the speed of light. You're like, well, fuck, that's what I'm dealing with on this thing. Horrible. Welcome to 1966. Where's Captain Kirk? Or Mr. Spock? Sounded like I was talking to Spock. So as soon as I entered my juror number, it said, you are not obligated any further at this time. I was like, what? What? So I had to replay it. Press pound. Press star key for a repeat of your status. I hit that star key again. I am not obligated any further at this time. So I fell into the jury pool. My number didn't get assigned to potential juror duty, so I didn't need to report. Dude, I told you, there's like 600,000 people in this district, in this freaking county. Once every 2 years, year and a half, you gotta go down there, so off the hook. And I apologize to everyone at the West Palm County Courthouse campus that I didn't get to see. In Guardian Ad Litem, in the state team, whomever, on whatever floor, wherever. I apologize. I didn't get to come see you. I'd have been down in Dave's Cafe. Could have hung out. I'd have had like a Sprouts and bacon sandwich. A BLT with Sprouts, maybe. Something light. We would have chewed the fat. Oh, how do you do? Oh yeah, you podcast? Oh yeah, you vidcast? No, I would have enjoyed seeing all the people down there that Tracy works with on a daily basis, and I apologize that I didn't get to see you all. So that's that. Here I am. Consumer alert. I just did the computer again. Computer, consumer alert. Did you guys see where Marriott had an approximate 500 million account hack over a course of a number of years? Oh, I've known so many people that were Marriott account holders. Premier, Platinum, Emerald, Centurion, Gold, Elite, Super Special, Awesome, Excellent, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I don't know if that came with the card. If you traveled quite a bit or if you were presented with the promotion of getting a Marriott card, and for vacations or what have you, you put some of that on that card for all your points. Marriott was one of your original big reward systems for, you know, that type of use, the credit card use, other than banks, right? And I think they tied into airlines. You know, they were a real cutting edge. Marriott's been huge for a long time, right? And so a lot of people got free nights and free travel and all kinds of stuff through Marriott, free benefits. 500 million people. Woo! You're global, baby. That's more than the US of A. And they stated that passport numbers, personal information, MPI data, birth dates, addresses, social security numbers, credit card information. Oh, any of this could have been leaked. Here's the good part. I think it's happened over the course of 3-4 years, 2-3 years. So you'd have known, I think, potentially quickly, I would hope, you're checking your accounts periodically, once a month, once a quarter, any account, your bank account. You better be doing all that stuff daily, weekly, right? But on these ancillary accounts where maybe you don't use them, that you still validate them, you log in, you don't get weird messages, you sign up for their alerts, right? Any of the basic stuff. Not where you're buried with shit mail, right? Where you're getting slammed by all these auto calls, the robocalls, all these freaking, call center tards trying to sell you stuff, because it happens. But that at the very least you're aware of and checking your accounts. You should be doing that all the time. If you have not had your identity hacked in 2018, almost 2019, you're lucky. I've had to switch everything, including bank accounts, a number of times. 10, 15 years ago, it was a hassle. It was bad. Got my card hacked in DC at a gas station. Bunch of charges showed up. Oh, had to dispute with, I don't know who it was, Capital One. Turned into a nightmare, right? Had to get a lawyer, write letters. Nowadays, dude, what's the guy that's got his safety whatever, safe lock, whatever. The guy that, here's my social security number. See if you can steal it and be me. Oh, right? For $8 a month. It's not $8 a month. It's $45 a month. Rush Limbaugh signed up for the shit. And they do. They check everything that you have. They put it all under pretty high visibility and ongoing checks and balances. And any action has notification to you. Many actions have approval by you. On my Wells accounts, which I have multiple, business and personal, they do the same. I've been in my house. I've been on the phone. I've been shopping in a mall locally, not out of your normal, shopping areas, which they track now. And if you go on travel, you need to update your travel plan with your banks and your credit cards, because they'll deny everything. Those are suspicious charges and they won't approve them. And if you're in Costa Rica, San Jose, where they might kill you, like they did this American woman who was down there on her birthday and then possibly buried her in plastic in the backyard. Dude, San Jose is a bad city. It's got the favelas, it's got the slums, and it's got roving gangs. What did you expect, homie? I guess she told her sister after her sister left, this Airbnb sketchy. Fucking A. And you're like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian with all your fakeness. Somebody jumped her, beat her up, raped her, killed her, buried her in the back. Come on. Fucking be aware. Beware. Be alert. I see women nowadays, even around here, I don't care if it's like the ideal America, they're running around our stupid Lake Dorothy. It's a pond. What are you doing? It's dark out. You're fucking asking for trouble. And I get maybe that's not where your head is, and I know you want to stay fit and you have to run, and I know you're a hard worker and you're dedicated. Safety first, man. There are predators everywhere. And we've seen that in the news a lot. Out in the Midwest, where those poor girls, the golfer, the one gal running, they're jumped knocked unconscious, dragged into the woods, raped, stabbed, killed. This has been going on since the beginning of time. Beginning of time. And it culminated in Jack the Ripper. Eee. Ooh, Jack the Ripper. Jesus. Anyway, be careful. And watch your fucking accounts. Check them. If you're not, what are you doing? Right? 500 million with possible breach and some of your critical personal data, including things that can affect your monetary, your credit report information. So I would state that if you were hacked and you haven't seen any changes in your account, they probably just, which is what they do. These hackers steal all the information. It's massive in data size and quantity. It's usually piecemealed somewhere, stored on servers, whatever, all the suspicious methodologies for hacking so that you can't track them. They do it globally, so it's with servers all over the world. And then they're on 4chan. Oh, an anonymous knows you. Whatever. And the dark web has you. The deep dark web. Dude, don't go kooky. This is just the shit that happens. And I'm sure if you contact Marriott headquarters, their 1-800 number, whatever, and you are a serious Marriott account holder, you use it, you travel around, you have saved points or miles or dollars or benefits, fucking better check that. They'll give you an annual service free for a year with some identity theft service, whatever it is. There's tons of them now. Sign up for it. It's a pain in the ass. I've got 50 passwords. It's the stupidest shit. You should have 50 passwords. If you're using the same bullshit password for all your accounts, shame on you. Jeez, I know, I get it. Don't put it on a post-it sitting on your computer. It's a pain in the ass, man, but these are the times that we're in. So check that shit. And sign up for some free service. Verify that your junk's okay. And if it's been hacked, I don't know what you do if your passport's been hacked and they have your passport number. I don't think it really matters. There's so many fail-safes on a passport if you have one nowadays and you look at it with some of the integrated security components like the threads and I think even a data thread. They've put some, pseudo microelectronics in it. In the new ones, I think that was announced in the last iteration of passport updates. So if you own one from like 10 years ago, you may not have this, but if you got one recently in the last 2 years, it's probably got all the bells and whistles. All the watermarks, the special ink, right? All that shit on them. I got a new one when we went somewhere and it's pretty slick. But they're not going to issue you a new one. You don't need a new one. A passport's a passport. As long as you have your passport, that's super secret. But if they have your social security number, if they have your home address, your phone number, your date of birth, if they have your banking and account information, credit card information, you fucking need to change some of that fast, right? And you possibly need to sign up for some stupid service. Identity theft management monitoring service, which is a pain in the ass, but that's the world we're in. So good luck. Another one of the hacks that's gone on. We've seen a ton of them. We're going to see a ton more. They're trying to change and manage and modify these things. They're not going to be able to. I mean, this is the ongoing fight. And I think we're part of it. Especially the U.S. government, which is why Edward Snowden and you've got Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, because we know what governments are doing. You just had Khashoggi murdered, and now they're stating that there was an Israeli software that was placed on his phone. The software would track his accounts, his Instagram, his Snapchat, whatever. I don't think Snapchat. Oh, don't look at me. Hey. But, dude, if you hadn't watched Snowden, there's nothing that you do anymore that's not monitored. Nothing. Your fucking computer at home through your ISP, your internet service provider, your phone through your telephony provider, your telco providers, all that shit's monitored. All of it's fully open. Unless you have spoofed addresses, you have private servers, unless you're doing some pretty cryptic crap as a technologist on your own, which some of us do. Some people do that. That's the dog. I gave her a chewy, and now she's throwing it up over there, and then she'll eat it back up. Rinky, what are you doing? But she's been relatively healthy as of late, which is good. Yeah, you got to be, if you're dealing with information that you don't want anyone to know, it has to be in a face-to-face conversation. If it's written down anywhere, even on legacy media like paper, potentially going to be seen. No. If it's done digitally, electronically anymore, anybody can see it. Anyone. And if you think you're sneaky and you've got these applications where you're stealing free TV and this and that, dude, they can track your IP. They can track down to your phone and your account. They just don't do it because there's 4 billion people using phones and 500 million of them are stealing free shit. Nobody to enforce it. They can track it all. So if you don't think they can, nobody's monitoring, dude. They saw Khashoggi talking to some Israeli guy, and that's how they hacked him. They freaking put spyware on his phone and knew what his conversations were. And then the young prince over there called the hit squad. They sucked him into the Turkey embassy and dismembered that mofo. And I didn't know it. That guy was a U.S. citizen. So I now see why what's going on has been going on. And this is where you start to get in the dirty dark over there. U.S. citizen? Ooh, what does that mean? Ooh, he clearly wasn't born here. Clearly he lives in the Middle East, Washington Post journalist. Maybe he lives part-time in D.C. I don't know what the requirements are. I don't know. I don't want to get controversial, but it starts to get creepy and spooky and dirty. And when you start to peel that onion, those layers get ugly. You're my friend, you're my buddy. Yeah, not really, All of the backdoor, double dealing, secret, super secret, deep dark shit that goes on in international politics and international business and international military exchange, and oh man. So, bad news. Hacked accounts, you better fix them. Chickadee check it! And it's a big deal. Don't play it like it's not a big deal. And you better get control of your world. And a lot of older folk find that difficult. And it is. But younger people can help you. It's all very available if you look on the web, if you track your stuff. If you don't understand that and you're semi-affluent, you've got some decent money or okay money, you can go pay for services. You can go to an accredited agency. They'll help you do it all. Even the major institutions now have wings and shoots and departments that do this stuff, like cybersecurity and crap like that at your bank. They'll tell you that your $500,000 in your checking account, not a good thing, not the place where you want 500 grand. Are you spending that kind of money on a pretty regular basis? Why is it in checking? Put it in savings. Put it in some kind of interest-bearing instrument. What are you doing? I was privy to those discussions. Strange. So, Assange and Snowman, they stated it. The governments are, they're the biggest, right? Underground or spookware systems initiators. All your black ops and your super secret spy crap, especially in the digital world. Every first world country has billions invested in that. And if you don't believe it or you're not aware, then you're mistaken. And that's why Snowman pointed out what he pointed out, because he knew that those potential projects and the software and the initiatives in the Pentagon and the Defense Department, the NSA, National Security Advisory, right? All this somewhat pre, during, and then immediately post, and now well post 9/11 crap. where you have global terror. We've always had global terror. It's now out in the open because the terrorists struck back. Bin Laden, man. Been doing that shit as long as the US has been the US. Just read a story where there's apes, chimpanzees off the coast of whatever, Senegal. I don't know, it wasn't Senegal. Somewhere over in Africa. And we went over there and infected all these monkeys with very contagious, deadly diseases so that we could see if we could treat them. Come up with vaccines and antibodies and stuff. But then we just left the monkeys on an island off the coast of Africa. And there's 50 or 60 of them, and they all have infectious diseases and, whatever. That's the shit that happens, and you don't hear about it. There's aftermath and everything. And now I just read where the military, the United States Navy, is genetically engineering new life forms for militaristic purposes. Detect submarines, to be able to promote living camouflage, self-healing paint. Dude, the Chinese dude over there with CRISPR, he's not the real threat. He's one of the threats. But our skunk works in the United States government, level 99 in the Pentagon, where you don't know where that elevator is and how to get to it and who to go down there. And, Mr. Ryan, hey man, I'm just an analyst. Yeah, you're more than an analyst. Weird, the shit going on that we get these leaks and these stories on. Of course the military is screwing around with genetics. I mean, where do you think all this stuff originates? At our greatest universities and defense-funded laboratories in the United States. We're pretty much the epicenter for all the brightest minds, the most money, the biggest discoveries. That's a bit of a misnomer, but mostly. Europe's pretty big, right? India's really up and coming, but the Indians all leave. There's not a lot going on in India. It's sort of a shithole, is what it is. So, weird. And now China. China's going to be pumping money into this stuff. But, yeah, so weird stuff going on. Check your accounts. There's a lot of stuff going on that's strange in the finance markets, in the financial industries. We had a flattening or even an inversion in the treasuries, the yield curve. And that's always, traditionally / always, almost always, been a sign that there is bad stuff ahead. Downturn, recession. And as I've talked about this in the past, the world wars pulled us out of depression, right? Because they commanded massive production, massive employment, massive expenditure of people, resource, asset, for a purpose. Internally, to build a military machine, to build infrastructure and industry, all these pieces, or externally, shipping all this shit out, using it abroad, selling it abroad, whatever. That's not what has happened here. Post the global recession, the global failure of the financial markets in 2007, 8, 9. You had interest rates removed. They weren't lowered, they were removed. Out of zero. Free money. I will give you money, you don't have to pay me for that money use. That's never happened in history and civilized worlds. Ever. Go anywhere. You gave me a chicken, I gave you a sheep. You gave me a bag of salt, I worked on your boat, cleaning your fishing nets. You gave me a shaved arrowhead, I gave you a piece of the skin from what I killed with it. You give me a loan, I don't have to pay any interest on that loan, free money. That's where we've been for the last 10 years, and a lie. We never got out of this. The housing market never was repaired. The predatory lending in the housing market has been somewhat stunted. It's been somewhat minimized. Still occurs. You still have 100% LTVs on loans. They're still giving homes away to very likely unable borrowers that if anything weird goes on, they won't be able to pay back the loan. Meaning, you're not using a tool that in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years is going to balloon, and now you have a giant payment. Not issuing those anymore. A balloon mortgage, a balloon loan. But we're issuing a loan that you never were approved for. You shouldn't have been approved for. You don't have the income, whatever validation or verification. If anything ever went wrong, you probably wouldn't be able to make that payment. And those were tight financial institutions that made this country after the Depression, right? After the World Wars. I loaned you money, but you put 20% down on that loan. I gave you $100, but really, I gave you 80. And when I gave you that 80, I understood that you had a house and a car and furnishings and a small business. And if during the future you stopped paying me my payments for that loan, I would go and start to take those assets as repayment. None of that really exists anymore. It's just this fake world, this virtual digital reality. So, and that's not true. I'm making generalizations, but it sure seems strange. There's a lot of talk that we're headed for another massive correction. And spending hasn't corrected, right? Everyone in this country continues to spend. Debt has ballooned astronomically by major businesses, by small businesses, by personal incomes and personal accounts. Everywhere. Homeowners continue to buy outside of their means. People continue to live outside of their means. Savings has dwindled. There isn't massive savings, which were signs of a healthy economy that knew how to manage and maintain their health and growth, even in tough times. Like, the 1970s when we had the gas crisis, right? But those are learned behaviors. Those are taught. And often they're taught as an outcome of lessons learned. A Great Depression, or not having, or squalor and starvation and hard times. And you understand what a meal, what clothing, what shelter actually means. And we don't live in those times anymore. We live in excess. And we've had many generations now that don't know that. And if anyone tells you we have millions of children starving, we have millions of people without medical coverage, we have those are political lies. They're fucking lies. No one in this country will go without eating anywhere. Anywhere. Any major, any minor city. Starving people would walk into a diner, they'd walk into a supermarket or whatever. They'd walk into a soup kitchen, they'd walk into a shelter. There's millions of people that have the ability to get free services, and it's gotten sickening because the people needing those services, many don't need them. They're actual choice-driven individuals that have addictions. They're not individuals that have major mental health issues, though many do. Many do. And we should manage those, but we don't manage any of this. We don't manage the opioid crisis, the heroin crisis, the marijuana. We're legalizing marijuana. Legalize everything or prohibit everything, and then put infrastructure, process, something around it, so that when you know that things will go wrong, there are institutions that will manage those. Forcibly, that have to manage those. And if they don't manage them, then you change it and make it work. I don't know, I don't know if we ever managed alcoholism. Smoking. How the fuck did we fix smoking? I don't know if we fixed it. The truth. These radical campaigns. All the kids are vaping now. I don't think we've fixed anything. We've deflected it to a new tool. And then they lie. No. The major cigarette, we've changed it. Well, you have changed that, but you really haven't fixed the problem. There's still millions of individuals that are inhaling some kind of substance, either through a cigarette, through an electronic cigarette, through a superheated oil, whatever, through a giant vape type aerator or vaporizer or whatever they are. It's more prevalent than ever. So weird. And on an individual basis, stay tuned with what's coming up in the financial markets. I think in the next couple of years, every major institution now is saying, be careful, beware. The stock market is horribly overpriced. There's going to be a dramatic correction. Dramatic, like 2007, 8, 9. Not 2, 3, 5, 6, 800 points. 4, 5, 6, 8, 10,000 points. And if you heard all the people, and all the time now on Saturday morning news on the radio, I hear, I know how to manage and protect my holdings now. I lost everything in the last market downturn. Better be prepared again. You better have the people that own and manage and control your stuff for you right on the speed dial when that shit starts to hit. And there's some type of, you've got some type of target, and the market's dropped 2,000 points, man, unload your shit. Get out. It's gonna happen again. We haven't fixed anything. Our debt's in the trillions now. We continue to not produce. General Motors and the car plants, Ford, they're closing and laying off people. We are not the nation that made this nation what it is now. We're primarily intellectual now. Intellectual properties. And that's what the stupid trade war with China is. It's a joke. Trump right now is yelling at them with Xi and the G20, right? Your tariffs. We're putting a 60 or 90-day stay. The Chinese have done exactly what Silicon Valley and all the tech industry around the globe has always done. Reverse engineer. We created it ourselves. Your patent, your copyright, not valid anymore. What do you mean? I invented the iPhone. For a couple of years it was good, but we figured it out now. We now have the G phone. And they're making it better. Fuck, the iPhones are all made over there. How hard was it for the Chinese to go into the Chinese factory and completely reverse engineer that phone for their phone? It's a joke, man. What do you expect? And who cared? Does Jobs care? Did Jobs care? Does Apple care? Does Cook? Cook's bitching right now. We need to stop. What did he say? I laughed at this. He said, the bullying, the hate and division, they have no place on these tech platforms. They need to be banned. How do you ban emotion? Dude, 1984, you're going to have the fucking emotion cops. Freedom of speech. But what happens when speech goes beyond? Speech is speech. Action is action. Violence and violent crimes and actionable offenses can always be prosecuted. Speech is speech. This fucking country, it's so queered right now. It's so screwed up. Everybody's opinions and conscience, right? And then you got people saying, well, you know, Amazon's a big bully, you know. Facebook right now, they're just controlling. Of course they are. Those are the most giant platforms on the globe right now. They have major influence in every life in America, lives everywhere in the world. Of course they're influencing. And this isn't the first time somebody said, you better check those mo's. Those cats are running everything. They're bigger than your government. Duh! It's strange. Yeah, and I don't know where we're going to go, and we've talked about this before, but better really start to have thoughtful, organized, constructive, detailed discussions on this stuff. And I don't think anyone in government was ever able to do that. I think some forms of the government, some portions, where you had the president put some cabinet members and had some departments with really smart people. But we've always known the government is cumbersome. The government is, it's a percentage of optimum. It's never optimized. If you wanted elite research, you wanted elite management, elite operations, you never went to the government. Government was kludge. $800 toilet seat at the Pentagon 30 years ago. Who expects anything to be different? That's why, you know, I've stated this before, that's why I voted for Trump. This institution, the United States government, the Clintons, right? The Bushes, 41 just died, I'll get into that. They're institutionalized. That's why Trump, he wasn't a part of this. He's a disruptor. He's a maniac, but he's a disruptor. He doesn't deal with their shit. He's going to make his own way. Good, bad, or indifferent. And that's exactly what he's done. He has been chaos abroad. And I thought maybe we needed it. But you need a voice of reason, too. And I thought he would put individuals that were of exceptional acumen, knowledge, ability in around him. And I think he thought he did that. But in fact, they were probably just shrewd business people, which was his realm. Private enterprise, smart, shrewd people that very likely lacked ethics, very likely had bottom lines that were driven by capitalism, pure capitalism, dollar, profit, that clearly lacked morals by any means necessary, would lie, would cheat, and steal. That's what the private industry does in many aspects. Go figure. That's what banks do. Hi, oh, hi. They don't provide you a service. They take your money for a service. And they've gotten exceptionally good at taking your money. To the, you know, to the realm of $6 an account a month. My personal checking account, $6 a month, right? Just so that you can utilize their services to manage your money. Times 10 million people, $6 a month per account. You've got 4 accounts in there. Whew, man, the bank's got money. It's a sham. What else? Don't go to a bank. Bury your money in the back of your yard or under your mattress. Or in your mattress. So, I mean, you got to be aware of these things, and those are the evils. And that's where we're at right now. But yeah, back to the normal news. It's a weird news day. It's a weird world where we're heading. And it's a lot of the same. Good day yesterday in the markets, not so good day today, right? Up and down, so be careful with your cash. 41 died. George Herbert Walker Bush. George H.W.B. 94, 8 months after Barbara. seemingly an awesome individual. Definitely, worked hard and became an elitist, and did well. And, I think overall was a good president. I don't know. I don't want to be controversial. I remember his, big rimmed glasses from the 80s. 1,000 points of light, Read my lips. No new taxes. He didn't strike me as extraordinary. Meaning, I don't think he was a horrible talker. I think he was a very articulate man, but he wasn't a strong, powerful presence. But from all accounts, he was generous. He was a family man. He was a hard worker. He was intelligent. To some degree, he was a leader. He was one of the last of the great generation, the greatest generation. 19 years old, flew a bunch of sorties in World War II. Combat veteran. Very well-rounded. Soft-spoken. I think if you look at his, years in office, did some good things, right? What the hell was it? American Disability, put that into play, right? The American Disability Act, the ADA. I remember all those changes, man, where you had to have wheelchair access, you had to have, and they were far overdue, they were needed. So that was cool. I don't think his presidency will be noted in history as massive, right? For contributions. I think he did more than many. He did good things. He did, didn't have major controversy for the most part. Saddam Hussein. And then his son rolled in. Nepotism's brutal, dude. It's so strange. And George W., I love George W., but simpleton. And an entitled elitist. But a good heart. 9/11 and how he performed. I don't think George W. will be known as a great president. I don't know, 43. But we buried him. And I don't know. What I pose to you is these national services. Easy peasy. Took one of the Air Force One fleet, flew it down there, brought him and interred him in the Capitol, right? Had giant services, had cannon salutes. Tomorrow the markets are closed because of his departure, his demise. The financial markets, the banking is closed tomorrow, a day of mourning. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if that's warranted. We haven't had many presidents in this great nation, so maybe we need to reflect when one passes. To this degree? Did every great nation, the Romans, the Greeks, whomever, the English, the French, all the monarchies did, well, I'm sure they did. Did they celebrate when there was the passing of someone great in their time? I'm sure they did. And there were monuments and all that. So is this unusual? No. I don't know, it just caught me a little off guard. So that's going on. And it'll end, and we'll see where we go from there with Donald J. Trump. But for now, I guess that's enough for today. Enjoy.